Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Review anything and everything. Today we're getting into the review and unboxing of Lego set 75311. Now, this is actually the first Star Wars set that I've ever purchased. Obviously a different one. I ended up buying 3 more of these. The first one I bought, I turned into a ship, which I've done videos before about how I customized that into a ship, which I now dubbed the Armored Beetle. But this, and I don't know if I'm gonna stick with that name, but that's just what I came up with. But I purchased 3 more of these sets. One was used and already open, but it was hard to find these at a decent price. So these 2 came together at a fairly decent price. The other one was a decent price because it was used, but it came with all the pieces. And essentially, this is, I'm gonna have a link in the description down below for you guys to purchase on Amazon, but to be honest with you, it's not really the best price to find it. You probably find it better on a place like eBay or some other used place, maybe Facebook Market or something like that. It's a set that's no longer being made, but I was such a fan of it. It was such a good set, even though I turned mine into something else. I turned into a spaceship. It was such a good set, especially for things like army building. And, you know, in place of, if you are a fan of Lego Star Wars and you wanted some kind of, at least within the realm of the original trilogy with Stormtroopers and whatnot, if you wanted something that was like ground support, like a tank or something like that, this is the closest thing you're gonna find to that, some sort of tank transport / tank, you know, ground vehicle, because the only other options that you really have, which you don't make anymore, was the AT-AT, which I forget what year that was out for. I don't know if it's 2020, 2021 or something like that, the latest one that they had before. But that was going for like about $150. So even at the time, if you wanted to army build with it, it would not have been easy. Where this one, when it came out, was, I want to say the retail price on this was like $40. Often you could find it for less than that. When it was longer being made, you can sometimes try to find it in certain places, $40. If you do a good search, you might be able to find them for $40. Don't be afraid to buy it used if you know it comes with all the parts, because like I said, this is one of those really great sets because you're getting 3 Stormtroopers. So what it comes with is 478 pieces, and it comes with Greef Karga, which once you have one of him, you don't need to have multiple of him, but nonetheless, you can always, you know, switch up parts of a person to make custom characters. But you have the artillery Stormtrooper, and then you have the regular Stormtroopers. And my original set that I had of this, which I turned into a spaceship, I took those figures and I put them onto my Star Destroyer. So this is one of the only ways also of you getting, there's not a lot of, this is no longer an affordable way, but at one point in time, this was an affordable way to get a good amount of Stormtroopers along with, like I said, a ground vehicle. So it really was a great all-in-one. Where it's funny, the only character that doesn't fit for this set really is Greef Karga, which is, he's an awesome character. But once again, once you have one of him, you really don't need more of him. So let's rip into this. And what I'm going to end up doing is just building both at the same time, and then also having my third one that was used in the mix as well. Let's see here. Now for the used set that I had that was obviously already open, I actually gave the Greef Karga away to one of my close friends because they have the UCS Razor Crest that one doesn't come with a Greef Karga at all. The original play scale set came with an older Greef Karga, and this one came with the newer Greef Karga, but that one didn't come with a Greef Karga at all. So I gave that to him, so he had it to go with his UCS Razor Crest. And just a quick look at the back of the box here. I know you guys already seen it from the second box, but it just kind of shows you what's going on. And one thing that's so great about this, I think this is probably one of, if not my favorite Star Wars set. Like I said, it fills the space of ground artillery, good for building up army building and whatnot. But this set has so much space, so it's actually probably one of the best sets for customizing, which is why I had that idea, because I seen a review on it earlier on when it kind of first came out, and I was like, I could rip into that and totally gut it out and build something else. So it just was really cool because it had a lot of space in it already by its default setting, let alone the fact that I end up making more space on it. But I really just think it's one of the best sets because, like I said, it really covers so many bases. One, you get a lot of figures for what the set was. Two, you have a lot of interior space for what the set is, and you're gonna see that when we finish the build. There's a lot of interior space for being such just a set that's not over the top in its size, not over the top in its price when it first came out, but it has a lot of space where, like, you literally, if you wanted to, you could get away with on this set. And I'll show it to you in detail when I have the set, finished and built, but you could literally get away with buying extra chairs from like Amazon as an off-brand, or from Pick a Brick from Lego, wherever you would get extra chairs. And you could literally gut the interior and just make it a troop transport with just a bunch of seats, or however you want to do it. There's many things you can do to gut it to make more space, and it doesn't have to change the exterior when you gut the inside to make that space. But you can literally do so many things with this thing that it's really such an amazing set when it comes to that. It really is. So we're gonna get into the build. I am going to build both at the same time, so it's definitely gonna be a bit of a lot doing this like that, but nonetheless, I think it's going to be really cool, and it'll help me be able to build it faster if I'm building two at the exact same time. So stay tuned for when we come back, and I'll review everything and we'll get into it. So I just wanted to point out this in the build process, and it's so important. You build this piece up right here, and it's kind of weird as far as the build process on it, because some of the pieces in it don't even need to be there. Like this right here, having that hole, you don't need to have that. But the reason why I wanted to show this is this right here and the way it connects. So these right here are those kind of wall pieces that are indented inwards. And the only way you're able to have that, you can't connect bricks or anything on the outside of this. The way this design allows you to just take this right here, and it only sticks by that piece right there. So you snap this on. And then after you snap this on, you can now, there's going to be a point later where you attach from here to kind of make this hold on, but it's not holding on with a lot. And this kind of slides right into where this little piece right here is kind of like holding it up. This is right here holding that up. The weight of that falls on that. And then this right here is also falling on that cheese slope here. So just the way it's designed allows it to kind of hold up. And the reason why, like I say, that's such an interesting aspect on the builds is because if they use this technique more often, you can have more interior space for like where, characters, elbows and whatnot would go if you wanted to put these seats a little more closer to the wall, because it allows that, like I said, with the interior wall thing. A lot of ships don't do that. We just have a regular brick wall going like that. You know how Lego figures, their elbows or the side of their arms will go against the wall, and they can't sit flush against it. So I think that was very interesting, the way they did that. All right, everybody, we're back with the finished build. And you can see here, as I mentioned before, I have bought 3 sets at the same time. These two are the ones that I put together. This one right here is the third used one over there. The figures came inside a plastic bag. Like I said, I gave away the Greef Karga to a close friend of mine. But the thing about it is I do not have the mortar blaster, or whatever you want to call it. Artillery. This is the artillery Stormtrooper, so it's like their mortar cannon or whatever, if I'm saying that right. So that's the only thing. So as I mentioned before, there's nothing wrong with buying some used, but there were all the parts for the most part of there. Some changes were not. They changed the way the blasters are on the back of this here to customize. So they sold it as that. I got all the figures at least, so I'm not gonna complain about that. And all the figures had their guns, except for that little mortar cannon, which is a self-built Lego, like, you know, kind of thing. So I could still build one of those up if I needed a third one, but I'm not going to. It's not a big deal. But with that being said, these are the ones that are coming as stock. There's only 2 things that I added to them from the extra pieces, and I'll show you those in a moment. I'll just get them out the way. So these 2 things right here, these were part of the extra pieces, and these 2 cheese slopes here were part of the extra pieces. I just threw them on there after the fact. They come with it, but obviously they're not normally instructed to be on there. But I just did it just to kind of, I like to sometimes use up the extra pieces that come with a set rather than just kind of put them in a little bag and just have them sitting around when you never get to them. So I just want to have everything laid out, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the figures really quick first. Then afterwards, I'm just going to take one of these and go over it in detail. So I just wanted to display all that into the back there because, like I said, I bought all these at the same time. So jumping into Greef Karga, and let's zoom in here a little close. This figure is like really nice. Even though there's one that comes with the Razor Crest, the 2020 Razor Crest Playscale one, you know, that one was designed for the time when he first appeared. This one was for like the later seasons. I think season 2 was it that he was in? Was he into season 3? Or I don't know if he passed away by season 3 or he was in season 3. I think he was in season 3. And I think this version looks better than the other version. You know, the drapes and everything, and just everything about him just looks better. So yeah, doesn't have a dual-sided head, which is fine because he's got the beard, so that would have gone to the bottom of the hair. So, but I think just the whole drapes that he has on just looks so nice. All the details on that, they come off real nice. So I like that. Here we have the artillery stormtrooper. What's nice about him is just he stands out. So here you're getting like great for army building, but it's like you're getting this different type of stormtrooper. I don't know if you would consider him a higher level rank. Now I moved this one to a different side. Normally this is on his right side or left, but I did that for the other figure. So I just wanted to switch it up here. But you see the yellow, which looks nice. Let's take this helmet off. Your standard clone face, and I'm gonna pull this off just so we can kind of see his back. And I don't know what this, like this type of backpack, what it is. Is it considered to be the ammo? Is it, because I don't know what it is. Maybe, you know, I'll try to look this figure up and find out later on what that represents. Here you can see the back details, which look really nice, but nonetheless he's got the yellow on there where it's, you know, just those little highlights of yellow just complement this particular suit slightly differently than the regular Stormtrooper. Let's throw this back on here. It's funny because once everybody says the Stormtrooper helmets look like Family Guy, it's hard to unsee it as much as I wish I could, but it just makes you think of the Family Guy ones. But yeah, so he has that there. His figure, I can't remember if he comes with a gun or not. Let me see in my extras. So I'm not seeing them in the extra pieces, which is weird because I actually thought that he had another one of the long guns, and I'm not seeing that. So I guess not. That's interesting. Okay, so this is his little cannon. Now I put the red piece on it. It normally doesn't come with that on it, but I throw that on there just to use the extra piece because you have an extra one of these. I just like that. It symbolizes that that's the blasting tip, which I think is cool. And then you have the Stormtrooper here, your regular Stormtrooper. You can see the way he looks. You've probably seen 100 of these already. This guy looks like this, and he's a guy. No back face. You don't need them with these guys. And then this one's a female. So the back printing So I just think it's great. Like I said, there's not a lot of sets that really come with Stormtroopers. And I never understood that, to be honest with you. There's certain things they should have an abundance of for you to just kind of build up. And Stormtroopers, I really feel, is just one of them that they should have an abundance of, and they don't. So that always kind of, I thought, was strange. But, okay, so let's get up with one of these and show you how it looks. So first off, I love this build. 478 pieces. I love it. It's sturdy, it's good, but also too, like, it's a great size. It's great for like I said, if you had a few of these, in this case, now I have 3, which I really love. If you could still get a hold of this, like I said, I'm gonna have the link in the description down below on Amazon, but if you could find it on eBay or find it anywhere, you can get a good price on it, do it. If you can't find it anywhere, and most of these pieces should be generic pieces enough, certain ones that are not, I don't think it's an issue to be left out of the build. But if you download the instructions and you buy out the pieces to build it up together, you can do that. Case in point, something like this, for example. You don't need that piece if you can't get it or it's more expensive. That will just do with a regular, you can see it right here. That's like a regular just 1x2. You don't need this extra part. Yeah, it looks nice, but you don't need it. So if you need to substitute certain parts like that, just go right ahead and do it. It's fine. There's a lot of these things that you can get by where you don't need. If you can't get this, that's just extra armor decoration. Maybe if you can't get that tilty piece, but you can get just a regular 1x2 flat plate, do it. You know what I mean? You could put one there and put one there. Like, it doesn't matter. You get what I'm saying? So, but it's worth you guys building this. Because, excuse me, it's just an amazing build. It's an amazing build. It's giving you this ground artillery for you to have for your, your empire. It's just great. I'm sorry, I can't stop raving about it. So here we got these little side doors on each side. They open up, and this is hard to sometimes slide out because it fits in there precisely. So when it comes out, it's got to come out the exact way to fit into these grooves. But this right here, and there's one on the other side, so I'm not going to open that one. It's nice. It's a little storage thing. Now, what I would like to put into it is the extra ammo. So I've got 2 on this side, 2 on the other side. I put 1 ammo extra there because I just, don't want to keep it in a bag just in case if, you want to start shooting them off, then you have them right there rather than have to go find a bag to where you had your extras. And that's great for storing them on these little side areas here. Like I said, you got to slide this in the exact way. And what's cool about this here, this is supposed to simulate them coming up, like popping their head out of the top of like a kind of cannon type of likeness. And you come up and you can shoot. He's not the best one for this, but the other guys had guns in their hands. So, which is how they're supposed to have. I just didn't want to move his arm. Let me do that. Okay, he fits in there fine for right now. So he'd be able to stand up here. You got studs down in here, so you could stand him up. And he would be over here just shooting out from the top, which is nice. And that's cool. And that's just to simulate that he's popping his head up from inside there, because obviously you wouldn't have a platform for him to stand up if you did it from here. But this has an opening too, which is cool, allowing you to kind of see inside there. And it's not that easy to see inside there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let me see if I can pull this whole top off. All right, you guys. So I was able to pull the whole top off. And like I said, this set to me is just amazing. We'll continue through with this. So this little top hatch here lifts up. So it's cool for the purpose of play, but if you, and it allows you, this allows you to sit the guys in there, but it's not easy, to be honest. That's why they open this thing up here, because normally this would be like this. I'm not gonna press it down there hard, and you can kind of squeeze the guys inside there, but it's not easy. But you got the 2 seats there. That one's an actual seat, and that's like that little kind of half seat. And then you have this kind of doorway. We'll get into that in a moment, which you can't walk through because there's a glass back there. But let's zoom in here a little bit. The space that you have in there, I think, is amazing. Now, this gray piece right there is a platform that goes all the way down. Like it's a, let me see if they have, yeah. So similar to that same beam going across here, that's what you have inside here. It's not as long, but that's what you have there. And they put these chairs and stuff on top of that. Now that helps to reinforce attaching that gray set of that plate. I'm sorry, that gray plate with the black plate. Just like on the bottom, you have that long gray one I just showed you that's holding it together. Now, if you take that off here, it's still gonna hold itself together. If you want, you could reinforce that where the black and the gray meet with a 1x2 plate. But my point is, if you want to gut this and just put chairs, you know, like along somewhere in the inside, you could do that. And what's great is, I have mentioned this before, that this interior part right here, where those walls are, going inwards like that is such a big deal, because it allows that if you put this against the wall, a minifigure can put his arms and sit, because they squeeze into that space. But I just think it's so amazing where even just the way the set is, there's so much interior space that can really be utilized. And I just think that it's amazing in that regards. And then, so here you can pop this open. Now that's one of the extra pieces as well. I had used it just as a little lever for the driver, because that's his compartment, that's his controls right there. And I'm gonna show you how this comes on top here. Before I do that, let me just open up these side doors here. This is how people would enter. So they give you a space where realistically the Stormtroopers would enter. And it's on both sides, which I think, once again, looks really nice. And that could be used as a seat too, if you want to use it that way, unless you just want that to be just an open area where they can walk in. And the idea is, by having space on the side, it's like a little side aisle where you walk along the side to get to your seat. So that's cool. And let me just close this top piece up now, so that way I can show you how the top opens up. Push this down here and it locks in a very good way. So that's cool. It's not flimsy at all. This thing is built very sturdy. So here you can see how this comes down like that. And then when you want to, and that's what people are supposed to be able to look out from the front. But when you want to open up to put the guy in, you just do like that. So really nice. And this thing's overly built on the side. Like, what builds this up is such detail and complicated that it's very interesting. When you build it up, you realize there's so much going on, including here as well. You have these little side blasters that spin. Stud shooters here, stud shooters here. Now, what most people do here, this piece, I love the way they do this too. The way this is all built up. This comes down. For you could put a one of the Stormtroopers in here, and this thing spins. Now, if you want this to do, you have the glass piece back there, so that's why they can't go from here through that piece that I showed you back there when I had it fully opened. You can see, you may not be able to see inside there from this angle, but so yeah, that glass piece, that's the back door. The back of that glass. So it's not like they could pass through or anything like that. But what stops this from spinning 360 is just this plate here. You can remove it and then it spins 360, and that's not a problem. Most people do remove that. I don't know why they put that there, but yeah. So if you do it based on the way the instructions are, you're gonna have that there. But then if you want to take it off, you can. But this is great, like I said, for modifying in so many different ways. You could literally, like I said before, buy extra seats, turn this into just a full-on transport on the inside where you're holding like a bunch of different soldiers. I don't know, like you might have to, work out how the sitting is in terms of being leaning against the wall to make sure that it's not like, because sometimes you can't take a seat and lean it right against the wall because the back of a seat protrudes a little bit backwards. So it all depends. But what you could do here, which is, I don't know, however you would do it. But the point is, you would be able to work it out, I believe, to hold a lot more guys in there if you needed to. But definitely, it's really nice. Like I said, you got this top piece here. Really nice build. I'm a really big fan of this. Sorry that the review just ran on really long, but I'm a really big fan of this, of what it comes with. Unfortunately, like I said, it's not really out anymore. So, you know, if you guys are able to find it, I definitely say jump on it. I do wish they'll come out with more sets that are like this, because honestly, it's like you don't really have a lot of things that fill this space, you know, for army building, some kind of ground artillery tank type of thing, without it being an arm and a leg. These are arm and a leg now because they just haven't been out. But if you bought them at the time when they first came out, it wouldn't have been an arm and a leg, and it probably was one of the best ways to army build. And when I purchased these ones recently off eBay, it was probably within about a year ago. So you might still be able to find them, or a little less than a year ago, somewhere in that ballpark range. So you might be able to find them still within that $40-$45 price range. And if you can, I definitely say jump on it. And like I said, these are one of the most customizable sets, because think about it. You could almost picture this being a four-legged AT-AT style. You know, if you knew how to build the legs up in a really nice way that didn't look cheesy, you could put like a couple of legs on this. You could imagine this thing standing up like this high, and now it's like a land walker, and this whole top kind of fills out to almost be like an AT-AT-ish style, you know, or whatever the case is. But there's just so much you could do with this. So yeah. Anyway, you guys, as always, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.